Hope you enjoyed it. Watching this Solomon asking my latest review who on Bleach, hey, chapter 652. Suicidal Tendencies, hey, part 6. Like, now that Nanaho has her own Zapatel and we get to learns the history of her family, like that Kyoraku's her uncle. Oh, so, so now, no, like, her family's always been part of, had misfortune, bad luck whenever they were married, like, uh, her mother, like tried to keep her from that, tried to protect her from that. That's one of the reasons why she entrusted the Sanpakuto to Kyoraku to make sure that her daughter didn't suffer the same fate. She will always watch him, always watch her mother, watching that she to make sure her mother, I mean, she's her mother, so she make sure her mother stayed safe. Things were always so hard for Aho as a child. Like things, pretty much. But I'll get into that in a little bit. Nanaho using her new Sabato, her Hakyo Kyokin, like her Kyorakin, like basically, and it has the power to wound its axis. I mean, this blade was supposed to be one that's passed down to the generation, like the only Sampato in hit, that could do so that was produced by the family. Like it has the ability to power to affect beings who have the power, who are basically living god entities or messenger, or has the power to channel god beings, like and literally destroy them, because of how powerful it is. That's how. Yeah, first, first, Hex Axis, he doesn't believe this. He says, like, he thinks it's just a bluff. But this blade really does work. I mean, this blade really does work on him. Even though the blade, even though the sword doesn't have a blade, it looks like something else. It doesn't have a blade. It doesn't look very sharp, but it seems to wound him in some way. Apparently, what Nanaho says, it could take the reflection of light that's in his eyes and literally he diluted and reflected back at him. In other words, it's a chance this thing could use your own force against you, because that's one of the abilities how it could cut you. Sorry if I'm moving so awkwardly. My foot is a little itchy. Yeah, yeah. It makes sense given this ability. However, even though Nanaho has this power, it doesn't seem like she's still not strong enough. I mean, remember, she's still a lieutenant, a vice captain. And if a captain like Kyoraku, even though has a lot of that, even though if a captain like Kyoraku couldn't do much damage against someone like the X-Axis, who's saying he's a messenger of God, him being the messenger and the job being your watch to Habak, it makes a little sense, a little bit of sense. And so, it's understandable given the situation. In the situation, I, I do, I do like, Kyoraku and Nanaho. Oh, but it's kind of hard to describe, knowing that either of them can't defeat them on their own. But you're gonna get your answer in this. Okay. Anyway, we also get some more insight into Nanaho's past. Like her family said, like her family couldn't produce any Zanpakuto at all. Right? Like they could only produce one and one. They could only produce one. Like she didn't have, like she couldn't produce a Zanpakuto. Like she was incapable of wielding or using her own or making her own kind of Zanpakuto for some reason. And, but she was very good with Kido and spells. Was one reason why she could advance so quickly. It kind of reminds me how Rock Lee, and Guy, they could have graduated from the Ninja Academy from Naruto. They did graduate because they weren't good with ninjutsu or genjutsu, but only taijutsu. Kind of reminds me of that kind of story, like trying to overcome adversity. It still had the skills to make it, despite all the situation. She was also raised after her mother died. She was raised by this elderly couple who were a member of the Ishin family, like basically like her relatives, but she didn't know which part of the family they were. If I would have guessed, they were probably either close to the mother or close to Kyoraku. I mean, she was probably either most likely Kyoraku, and I think Kyoraku because he's always been watching her since she was a little girl, looking out for her. Hell, when she graduated from the Ninja Academy, she was assigned to Squad 8. She was assigned to Squad 8. Hey, so basically, that means that he was looking out for her as a little girl to make sure that he would never let her out of his sight, so she would make sure she always be safe because of the promise he made to her mother. I mean, it's obvious that Kyoraku loved her mother very much, even though she was his brother's wife. He did care for her, and she treated him nicely, even though he and his brother didn't exactly get along very well. Well, she was a good person to him, and I think when he looks in the Nanaho, I think he looks at at her mother. I think she sees a lot of. I think he sees a lot of her mother in her. You know. I also know that in this chapter, after that they were talking about students talking about going to different squads. How one of them was saying they were going to squad 8. No, no, scratch that. Squad 5, saying Vice Captain Aizen's so dreamy. Too bad that dreamy face hides a horrible demon inside. You don't know how Aizen is shady. But that's something that's understandable. I do like this chapter a very lot, and I liked how in the end, like even though Nanaho wounded when X axis, it didn't seem like she's not completely strong enough to face him on her own. And we get to see some more flashbacks from Kyoraku's side, seeing seeing that his brother died alongside, seeing that people that he loved died, but entrusting him with secrets and items to make sure that what they stood for doesn't completely go away. Like like for example, Nanaho's mother, giving him the Sanpakuto, him watching out for for her all these years, and him standing behind her, wielding the sword, and they're getting ready to fight together. It also Nanaho also remember a conversation between a person and her mother, and her mother giving that man something. That person was Kyoraku, like basically. Like she remembers the conversation, she remembers the connection all these years. Like even as a little girl, after all these years have passed, she still has good memory. And she remembers Kyoraku from the academy. Like like he would make constant visits. It looks like he did it just to keep an eye on her over the years. Like he would wear a different kimono. He would always put his hair in a pin. You know how a woman does it, and different kimono. But then he changed his kimono as when Anao was on Squad 8. Apparently, the pattern that he wore for that kimono was for her mother. Was from her mother. Like he was trying to make sure that he tried to make sure that she was treated right. She was looked after all this time, and she wants to also pay homage to her mother. I mean, he did care for her, and he does care for Nanaho. I mean, he wouldn't have looked out for her all these years if he didn't care. So I do like Kyoraku as a character, even though looking out for a little, even though it is a bit creepy that he's he's her uncle, but he's his family. She's his family. So basically, like family looks out for family. That makes a lot of sense. And he doesn't have a lot of family left. And since Nanaho's his niece, it makes sense. Anyway, that's all I gotta say. I did like this chapter for the emotional sake, emotion, you know. Anyway, that's all I gotta say. Hope you enjoyed this one. Comment, subscribe. Thank you. This is Sullivan Adams. Gave my latest review on Bleach chapter 652. I like this chapter very much. Thank you.